Hey, what's up, everybody? Good morning. How are you today? Worship Team Training, Branon Dempsey. Glad to see you. How are you today? What is going on this morning, everybody? Great to have you. How are you today? Welcome to the Worship Team Training Morning Show. I'm your host, Branon Dempsey. How are you this fine? May the 4th be with you. Wednesday. It's Wednesday worship. Hope you guys are doing well. What is going on? I'm going to just adjust you real quick. Stay right there. Good. How is everybody today? How are you today? Man, what a great Wednesday it is. And hope that you're having the best time in the world with your walk with Jesus, the ministry that He's given you to do, and this awesome day to live. Even when things are tough and things seem to be a little bit on the fringe, we always experience God's grace and mercy in the times that we need. Amen. How are you this morning? Great to see you, folks. Let's go ahead and kick this off. Great to see you. Again, may the 4th be with you. Glad you guys are here. So, who am I? I'm Branon Dempsey. I'm a follower of Jesus, and I just so happen to lead a ministry called worshipteamtraining.com. And what do we do? Exactly what the name says. We train worship teams. We work with worship leaders and singers and audio tech and pastors just like you. When do we do these broadcasts that you're seeing right now? Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And it is a pleasure to come at you each weekday and to fellowship with you. And as we do that, we always want to know, who are we broadcasting to? So if you would let us know, number one, if this is the first time, thanks, Scott. Says always consistent. Love you. If this is the first time to the broadcast, and even if you watch the replay, hey, welcome and thank you so much for coming back. Thank you so much for coming in. Let us know who you are and where you are by simply typing in all caps, new, in the city or country of where you're from. And if you're family already, just like Scott, on Periscope, then type in FAM as in family, and let us all know who you are so we always can enjoy the conversation together this day. So fantastic. Also, we ask you, if you would, you're watching by Facebook Live, thanks so much for coming at us here. Please hit the like button. And also share it out with all your friends on Twitter, on Facebook, let everybody know what's up. Periscope, please do the same thing. Swipe and invite is what we call it. And as always, if you like what you hear today on the broadcast, if you're watching by Periscope, you can only do this in Periscope. You tap on the screen, like show some love to the worship leader glasses and worship leader hair. Facebook Live, you can just send us a heart. Right there, the worship leader hair. So great, thanks so much. Let's get on with this today. Man, we got some stuff to talk about. To Him in song. This is a picture of a worship leader leading worship. Rather awkwardly, the way the mic is being held in relation to the guitar. I didn't take the picture, so I don't know. It's Kelly's fault. That's all I can say. Kelly's fault. Anyway, walk in worship. That's what we're talking about today. Walk in worship. How important is it to you in the life that you live off stage in relation to what you do on stage? Now, if you are a regular watcher of these broadcasts, or you are a regular to our worshipteamtraining.com site, you will notice that in almost majority of the articles, we express something like this, something of this kind of thought, because it directly impacts the way that we lead the church. And if we cannot be in relationship with one another off stage, then what is the point of our leading on stage? Whoa, I know, that's kind of deep and powerful real quick already out the gate. But hey, let me go ahead and just warm you up and take this time to let you know that we are on Twitter. If you haven't found us already, please go to Twitter. If you don't know what that is, just go to twitter.com. Sign up for an account. And then, next best thing, follow us at WorshipTT. You'll find all of our web links about our events, workshops, mentoring, everything else that we have to offer, and a daily broadcast and post just like what you're watching right now. You'll get it right at your fingertips, updating you always. And please check out Bible.com if you haven't already. Bible.com, I think, in my opinion, is one of the best Bible apps online out there. I mean, there's a lot of great ones, okay? I like Bible.com because it's very easy. It's very intuitive. What I love about it too is it's got this social thing involved where you can have friends and share scriptures and see what other people are reading and like what they're doing, comment. And it's just fantastic. And you'll find us there too, because not only will you find a great Bible app, but you'll also find great devotionals written by thousands of people, thousands of authors. We just happen to be one of them. So if you would, let us know if you've gone by Bible.com and seen our page. We have a landing page there. It's Worship Team Training, and you can follow what we do. We have our Bible daily devotionals too, just for you, worship teams, worship leaders, pastors, musicians, singer, audio tech, just like who these broadcasts are for today. You can get these worship devotionals on Bible.com by simply following Worship Team Training. We have a great number of devotionals that are coming out next. So enjoy the first 3 that we have. Our 3-day, we have a 5-day, we have a 7-day, all for you. So check that out. Our next webinar, we got the link up. Sorry, it took a little while because I said yesterday it would be up and I didn't put it up yesterday. Fail, sorry. Forgiven, yes, thank you. It's up now. Tony Guerrero, because you don't want to miss this webinar. Why? Tony is a powerhouse when it comes to applying spiritual principles in musicianship. And I just love the way he thinks because he is so minded of servanthood and yet expresses that musically by the way he plays, by the way he leads his ministry. Tony Guerrero, if you don't know anything about him, he is a fantastic, one of the major producers out in the LA area. He produces a lot of TV talk show celebrities as well and does a fantastic job. And he's ministering out in the world among celebs and among music stars and everything. Tony Guerrero, he is out there. Everybody say hello to Clarence. Clarence is our broadcast assistant coming on today on Periscope. Clarence, how are you? Getting back to Tony Guerrero, I love Tony. He is one of our hosts on the Worship Team Training Hangout, which you will see next Wednesday if you click on the 11 a.m. live. That's 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. Next Wednesday, Tony will be with us with Alva Copeland. Alva is a fantastic worship leader who can sing like I've never heard in my life. And I've never had the pleasure of experiencing a real live worship service with her, but just to see her, just to see what God does through her, even on video, is just quite amazing. She's going to be our guest next Wednesday on the Hangout show. You can't miss it. Tony's going to be there too. But in the meantime, speaking of Tony, please sign up for this fantastic webinar about raising the standard of your worship team. That's what it's about. Letty, what's up? Great to see you this morning on Periscope. You can find our free webinar that is coming up, on the 24th of May. That's 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. And we'll be putting out some more notices, but the link is up at worshipteamtraining.com/events. worshipteamtraining.com/events. Good morning, Clarity. How are you? Oh, no, you didn't miss anything. And Letty, love you. I'm so Letty, she's a fantastic worship leader. I love the way what God is doing through you and how He's growing you. Fantastic worship leader out from Colorado, and we spend much time together to go over weekly day-to-day life and ministry and stuff. And so that's what it's about. You can check that out for yourself at our mentoring page, which I'll go over a little bit. I love you, Letty. Thank you so much. We're growing together. That's what it's all about. Thank you for that, Letty, on Periscope. So we are dual broadcasting, so if you see me talk to one camera and the other, we have both Facebook Live and Periscope going on. So it's awesome stuff. Snapchat. I'm going to get through the formalities. Don't worry. I know you're anxious for me to get to the show, but this is also good stuff. Why? Because on Snapchat, we share a lot of content that we don't put on these broadcasts that you're watching, or we don't put on our articles. Snapchat is just another social medium that we use to send messages to you globally about what God is doing within our worship ministries. It's personal stories from me. it's just some maybe thoughts or questions to you. You guys also snap us throughout the day. You're snapping me questions, and then what I do is just respond. So I think that's the whole fun of Snapchat. So all you need to do is go to your Apple device, Apple App Store, or Droid Google Play. Download Snapchat, add us, Worship TT. It's so much fun because you guys ask us questions about, well, hey, what's the best way to introduce new songs? Hey, how do I deal with this one team member? Hey, what do you say about worship leading and the relationship with our pastor? All those good stuff. You guys message us all the time, and I'm constantly just giving out, yeah, hey, this is it. Hey, this is what God showed me, or this is where I failed. This is where it didn't make sense to me. So please let us know, and as you follow us, hey, we'll have fun together. We'll snap together, so thanks for that. And also, our mentoring page, as I just mentioned, you can find all the good stuff there about having a personal mentor to walk beside you in your journey. You can choose from me, Tony Guerrero, Stephanie Kelly, Laura Marriott, Rich Kirkpatrick, tons of people, tons of fun. worshipteentraining.com/mentoring. Let's get on with it. Walk in worship. What does this mean, walk in worship? Not a new concept, not even a new slogan. In fact, there's a great Facebook page group that's called I think it's Walking in Worship, or maybe Walk in Worship. And I love what they do because they're extremely intentional about the walk and about the leading of it. So you haven't already, check them out on Facebook. Great people. They got a lot of great posts, and they have like thousands and thousands of followers. So I love that because it tells me that people dig what they're doing. So check them out. But anyway, walk in worship. That impressed me, just that whole thought, because do you ever get to the point in life where you feel like maybe your walk is not as worshipful? Maybe the walk that you're leading right now, is it something worth imitating? Now, I only asked that question, and I know I'm going deep right away, because my mentor asked me that years ago. He said, Branon, the way that you live your life, is it something that others would want to imitate? I was like, wow, how can I just shut down right now, okay, and cry? I'm crying now. You got me. And I love what he said because it's very biblical. In fact, Hebrews talks about that, to be imitators of the faith that went before us, our founding fathers of the Bible, that Paul, well, we all know it's Paul, maybe, who wrote Hebrews, but Hebrews challenges us to be imitators of God, be imitators of the faithful. So what is it that we can do to imitate the faith of those that you find faithful? I find, like, I had this question this morning. I woke up as, let me put this all in order. Woke up and then brought the kids to school. Okay, that itself is a process. It's a process. If you don't have children, okay. If you have children, you already understand. So after I processed all that, right, I get this email from one of the worship leaders that we're working with in our mentoring program, and the gentleman is in his mid-60s, leading worship. God's using his faithfulness, and just awesome. And he asked me, how does faithfulness connect with leadership? That was in essence the question. And the more I thought about that, I'm like, that is a great question. I think about how many times, or it's just constantly, that God shows his faithfulness to us, right? And in that same line of faithfulness that God shows us, how are we sharing that back out? How are we showing that back out to our Lord, to the teams that we lead? Because if we're receiving God's faithfulness, but we're not just there to receive and absorb and soak up and that's it, like a Dead Sea, right? But we are to give out. We are to give out faithfulness. That, I think, is an effective shape of our leadership, because you want faithful leaders. You look to faithful leaders, right? You look to your pastor, you look to those in worship who lead you, you look to the men and women who spent their hard-earned time with you, and their faithfulness to always show up, to always be there. I have mentors in my life that I could call at 3 a.m. in the morning, and they'll pick up. Maybe. I hope. they're not sleeping. But most of the time, yeah. I have men and women in my life, my wife being my best friend, number one. Danny, Lamar, John, I mean, all these fantastic people. Sally, I can call on them and say, hey, I mean, even, Tony, I'll text Tony to say, hey, dude, what's your thought about this? I'll call Dan and say, hey, I'm really struggling. Can you help me see this correctly? Because I feel like I need you to kick me in the side of the head. And it's so good to be kicked in the head, isn't it? But I think that to strengthen our walk in worship is the strengthening of who God sends to us and the people that He surrounded us with. And then look at your leadership, the way God uses you to surround someone else. I mean, it doesn't just stop with who's in my life? It's also are you in other people's lives? Or, I mean, how does that work? Because much of the time, as leaders in the church, or volunteers, it's really easy to get lonely. It's really easy to feel the pressure, to feel the burn, to feel like, man, my walk is not worthy. Man, my walk is kind of weak. Man, who would want to imitate my faith, But that's not what the Bible says. I mean, Jesus clearly said that if you have the light of Christ in your eyes, basically, then others who see you don't see you, but they see Jesus. And then what do we do with that light? What Jesus talks about as far as our talent, our skill, and the gospel, that we don't hide it under a bed, but we are a city on the hill. That lamp, God made you that lamp to shine on that hill. How is your light shining brightly? And how is God using you in your church and in your community to be that light? He hasn't called us to be a lampshade. He hasn't called us to be under the bed. He's called us to stand strong in confidence. And that has much to do with the way that we lead worship. We're not supposed to be perfect. So I'm just kind of going off here. Sorry if I'm... but let me just say this. Just to introduce this. Thanks, Letty. Have you ever been in that worship service where, things were clicking and you sensed the Holy Spirit, you sensed the Lord, every whisper, every word upon your heart is just right there, And you can, just feel the whisper of God. Have you ever felt that leading worship? Have you ever felt in one of those occasions, whenever it was, that His Word was just washing over you and washing over the people? Can worship leading really be that way? I know it's hard because we look for that. I don't mean to call it it's not a magic bullet or a magic nugget every week, but we do want to capture the essence of God every week. But I think it's more of a letting God, how does God catch us in those moments? How do we respond back to God? It's not so much about finding God, that God's got to make the service right, and it's all about our walk during the week. It's all about the things that God brings us through to experience and to have life and to live it more abundantly. John 10:10. I mean, if we can't do that, if we can't experience those times, even in the hardship, I mean, that's when I worship the most, is in the hardship, because I'm in the trenches. I feel God's hand upon me, and I experience that pressure, but I have to remind myself that pressure that I feel, the darkness that I may sense, the holding, the closing in that maybe I'm experiencing, is really God Himself wrapping me in His cloak. I mean, just holding me right there. And I realize then that I'm not walking alone, that my walk is not in vain, that the ministry that I lead is not void, but it's worth something because God made it worth something because of Him. Kelly, what's up? Kelly, our content media manager. So glad you're here, Kelly. She says, worship through the valley. I love that. If you didn't catch Kelly on the broadcast we did this past Friday, wow, you need to watch that. I had Kelly up here. Her head was on the screen kind of thing. It was like a real virtual deal we did. It was awesome. We're going to do it again. But we had this time delay issue. Really bad. But God used Kelly in an amazing way. And she had a lot of great things to say. Kelly, I I'm asking Kelly right now on Periscope. What was the one thing that you walked away with from that broadcast? Okay, as you type that up, I want to tell it in a second. I'm just going to move on. As you can type that in, Kelly, let us know, and then I'll share it out with you guys. By the way, if you are in this moment now that, you got a question, you want something to say, you got an idea, hey, that's what the comment windows are for. So please use them. Type in your thoughts. Let us know what's up. Even if you're watching a replay, we still get these comments when they come in, watching by YouTube, Facebook Live, Periscope, what have you. Let us know what's up. You can't do a comment on Periscope playback, by the way. It's got to be live. But if you're watching by YouTube, you can. So, I love this quote. When we talk about music, and we talk about reaching the heart of God, and then we're trapped into the presence of what the Lord is doing. I love what Henry Ward Beecher said. He said of all the music that reached farthest into heaven, it is the beating of a loving heart. Kelly said this, what she came back to was worshiping regardless of who gives you a high five. Wow! That's the one thing that Kelly walked away with from the broadcast we did Friday. She said it's knowing how to walk away regardless of who gives you a high five. I love that. So it's like walking away from the worship services, right? Walking away from your rehearsal. It's about God in worship. Yes, it's knowing that when you walk away from the best that you've given and your capacity to serve, God's still through and through no matter what. Leonard, what's up? Leonard says this: as a worship leader, should I be the one checking on my team's daily walk with God? Or should I just focus on loving them? I recommend this. Because that's a great question. Should you be checking on people each day, Leon? Sorry, I called you Leonard. That was not right. Leon, should you be checking on your team members daily and then seeing how they, how they're living life? Clarence says some get hired and don't have a walk with God. They sing or play. Yeah, that's true. You gotta, I think you gotta be engaged with your team in some way. And I don't think that we need to micromanage people. Yeah, Danielle, that's good. Danielle said, do what God does for you. Mirror that. That's a great word. Thank you. I think it's healthy. You got to check in with your team members every now and then, like throughout the week. Like yesterday, I called up one of our singers and just said, hey, how's it going? What was your thought on things we talked about? How's life? And then, what's your focus for the week? What are things that I can pray for? That kind of thing. Sending them text messages. It doesn't take a lot. Just to say, hey, I'm thinking about you. Just letting you know. What can I pray for? I send those messages out to even our mentorees that take our program. Every now and then I'll send them a message, say, hey, how's this week going? Are you keeping up? And when we meet together, it's like, okay, what can we jump into the trenches about today? That kind of thing. So Danielle says, I love that. Send them a text. What can I pray for? Yeah, send them a Snapchat. Give them a big thumbs up with a coffee mug, right? Man, you just don't know how good that was. Wow. But share a cup with somebody, buy them a Starbucks card, send it to them, let people know you're thinking about them. That's when I think about walking, that's it, like daily encouragement. If you're following us on Snapchat, I go to the same grocery store every day. I'll buy you a Starbucks card, Danielle. So cute. When I'm calling Kelly, we do, but she don't want me singing, that's funny. Kelly and I, we have our strategy meetings, and sometimes when I'll call, our board, and I'm just, going through the grocery aisle and just shopping, because I have, limited time before, these broadcasts go on or whatever. And, even today, just walking through the store, I know the people there, and I think it's the best. Grocery store meetings are the best, Kelly says. That's funny. I love the people there. It's kind of like like a church in a way. It's not church, but it's like that relationship. I just want to make sure every Sunday that we serve, I'm not the only one worshiping the same God. Leon says this in Periscope. That's true. Leon says, I worship through the week. Absolutely. And the worship has to be in your walk. Again, like me going to the grocery store, I could be having a bad day, you know? Don't stop grocery shop. That's funny, Clarence. Thank you. You know, I could be having a bad day, and when I go to the store, they lift me up. They're like, hey, how's it going? I got this one guy, this one dude in there. His name is Jacob. I don't think he watches the Periscopes and broadcasts here, but Jacob actually is a youth leader. He is a youth minister that happens to be working full-time at a grocery store. And I think I showed him on Snapchat a few times in the past. This dude rocks, man. I mean, he's got a family, and he's in his, I think he's like in his late 20s. And he's studying to be a pastor. He's working full-time at the grocery store. And he's also ministering at his church as the youth minister. And I mean, this dude has like 3 jobs, you know? And when I go in, every day when I see him, he's always got this just like this go for it attitude. Like, hey, you know, he calls me B. He said, what's up, B? I'm like, hey, and I call him J, you know. And I mean, we just talk back and forth, and it's awesome because, I mean, you know, he works in the dairy department, and, you know, he'll laugh at me too because he sees that I'm like bundling all my groceries like this, and he'll look at me and say, do you need a grocery cart? And I'm like, no, I'm fine, I got it. And milk is like spilling and eggs are going everywhere, you know. You can call me B, yeah, why not? You know, call me B, fine, cool. I'll call you D, I'll call you C, whatever. I'm not going to go any further. Because it brings up a very bad commercial of memory, and I don't want to go there. Anyway, Jacob, you know, this guy's got it down. And so I just love going in there, and it's like coming in here with you on these broadcasts. You guys comment, you let us know what's going on. It encourages me. I mean, it's like, you know, to hear what God does through you and your ministries and your walk, I mean, it's like, wow. I mean, this is what it's about, isn't it? It's about iron sharpens iron, right? Like, no, not ironing sharpens ironing. That would be kind of difficult. Okay, so when we respond to God in worship, we respond to God through prayer and confession. And confession seems to be like a lost word in the church's vocabulary today. I don't know what it is about people that they feel like confession is like a bad word. I think confession is awesome because it allows us to be liberated, free, honesty, sincerity before the Lord and say, look, God, I messed up. God, I'm weak. God, I need you. I need your forgiveness. I need your mercy and grace. I cannot make it through without you. That shows a soul dependency upon Jesus. And when you talk about walk and worship, it is a moment by moment, like that awesome hymn, moment by moment, I'm trapped in his love. I mean, that's what it's about. It's not about looking at our song sets and looking at our instruments around the room and feeling better about ourselves because we're worship leaders or musicians or singers. Who cares? That's not what makes you you. Being a child of God is who God's called you to be first. Not anybody else, not anything else. And so, if you're constantly measuring yourself by those standards, well, of course, you're going to fail. You're going to be frustrated because you're putting your worth in something that cannot be quantified of where God's placed you in his life for God's gain, for his glory, for him to use you. You're quantifying it in self. And that doesn't equate what the Bible says about your life. Thanks, Leon. Leon says, give Branon 5,000 hearts. Awesome. Thanks for that. I give you guys 10,000 hearts. You know, I mean, this is where the rubber meets the road. You know, I mean, it's funny because every day we do different broadcasts, but it's almost like Tony said this a long time ago. We keep coming back to the same conversation, right? And it's true. It's like the same conversation, but in different expressions, in different ways, and in different examples. And so that's why I feel like story and encouragement is so important. You know, just sitting with your team members and letting them know about your walk. Let them know you screwed up. Let them know you failed. It shows the humanity of you. It doesn't show the perfection. You know, and I think even when we lead worship, it needs to be that same way. Like, so what? You started, like, your guitar was out of tune. Tune it. Don't stop your music, but tune it and fix it and move on. It's not a big deal. It's no reflection on you. So what? People don't come to hear you play. People come because they want to connect and worship and be led by the Holy Spirit as He's working through you. Are we letting Him? That's the question. Are we letting God use us in that capacity? It's true. I mean, like Sunday was like a homecoming for us this past Sunday. We're with our home church again. I'm serving on staff at a church that I took this position with my family back in 2001. And I'm serving with them again. It's 2016. It just blows my mind. Blows my mind. I'm seeing people that I've known for almost Heather and I have been together for 16 years now. And it's like seeing these people that have watched our marriage grow, you know, and now I'm seeing them in life, and I see what God's been doing in their church, and it's just amazing. And, you know, and it's funny because it's the same relationship. It's like the same people. I saw like Art. Art is one of our fantastic. He used to be my elder long ago. Now he stepped out of that role. He's just a member, and I love this man because he used to be one of the largest supporters of the worship ministry, and he still is. And, you know, I didn't know what to think. I mean, this guy saw my mistakes. Leon, yeah. I mean, Leon says, leaning on God that covers my mistakes. Yeah. This guy, Art, saw my mistakes. He saw my slip-ups in ministry. And, you know, and I hadn't seen him in probably like a minimum of 7 years because we saw him at a party earlier, like a celebration for the church, you know. And I saw him, and I was like thinking, yeah, you know, because people change. You never know. And he wasn't looking my direction, and I just thought, well, you know, I mean, I'll probably say hi to him later. And he came right up to me, and I didn't have time to shake his hand, and he just hugged me. And he said, Branon, I'm going to come Thursday to sing in the praise choir. And I'm like, wow. You know, and I looked at him, and it's like, this thing's never changed, you know. I said, Art, you don't look like you like a day has changed you. And he said the same thing of me, and I said, thank you. Even though we had two boys since then, and my lovely wife sent us a picture with 7 years ago before we had children, and wow, what a night and day comparison that was. I mean, talk about, like, you know, yeah, but hey, life wouldn't be the same, you know. I mean, I was going to say wrinkles and stuff. I don't have wrinkles in my face, but I have stretch marks. Sorry. Okay. Anyway, but looking back, I mean, it's like, you know, when I look at what God has done, yes, maturity of relationships is a beautiful thing. Absolutely. Thanks, Jermaine. Jermaine, what's up? I got to respond to your email, brother. Did I do that? I'm sorry. And also Shadwick. Sorry, I got to get back to you guys too. They're coming on Periscope. But yeah, when I look at my walk during the week, I see my wife. I see our children. I see how am I living life in a way that models worship to my family. That's important. I mean, that goes way beyond the walls of the church. I mean, how do we do that? Jeff, what's up? Jeff, great buddy of mine on Periscope. Jeff and I go back, baby. Dude, how long have we gone back? Jermaine, you're awesome, dude. No, I'm going to get with you, bro. Jeff, I don't know how long it's been. I went to his church to work with his worship leader back in 2002. I think that's when we met. Jeff is part of our mentoring group of other worship leaders that we call the Worship Mentor, the Gathering, and also was there with me when I did some things in Southern California way back. Wow, I mean, Jeff, you're an awesome dude. I mean, this guy's a mentor. This guy has lived it. He's still living it, still doing it, working hard, keeping his head down, doing the faith, you know, and we're supposed to connect soon, Jeff. I know that. I can't wait. Dude's awesome. I mean, it's like, you know, when you find people like this in life, they're gold, dude. Yes. Thanks, Jeff. You too, bro. I mean, it's gold when you find people like that in life because it lets you know that, hey, there's there's more people doing this thing. You know, it's no longer about you. I mean, I just love the kind of interaction that all of us have, and we can encourage each other, and we can never be too busy. Can never be too busy. We got to stop that time. You know, that's something that I struggle with, and I have to, like, my wife and I were talking about that last night. You know, about managing our time with our family. You know, I mean, work is great, ministry awesome, but at the end of the day, shut it down. And we map out time with our children. We map out time for each other. We map out our time with God. I mean, it's so easy to let all these other things collide, and then you wind up with no boundaries, right? And so I think it's family. Your spouse, if you have a spouse, your marriage comes first. Your children come second. Of course, God being the understood number one primo, of course. And your friends, then your ministry, I find. Because your friends, your close friends you see them probably more often than the people at your church. But yet your church family, they're your family. So, all this stuff works together, and it's a priority. But it's learning how to map out this time, making the most of it. The more that I get, each day as I get older, I realize that time is just slipping, you know? I know it's a song, sorry. But it really is. It's like I look back on that picture that my wife showed me 7 years ago, and I just said to her, there's no way that was 7 years. It felt like, in some ways it felt like yesterday, and in another way it felt like 20 years ago. It's kind of weird, you know, looking back. But I think that is our capstone, is to move forward, not live life in the rearview mirror, not looking back to say, man, I want this where it used to be. That's like the church that I'm at right now. Awesome, Clarence. He and his wife got married 8 years ago. Time flew by. Yeah, absolutely. It's like the church that we're at right now. And I left back in I think it was late 2005 is when I left. And so I remember going through that experience, and the new pastor said to me, you know, and this comes from, it's a, what is it? I don't want to get the name wrong. Heraclitus said this, and it's in the movie The Emperor's Room. Great movie, by the way. He said that you cannot step in the river twice. You cannot step in the same river twice, because the river in which you stepped in years ago that one time is now down further downstream. What I've learned is that it may still be the same river, but the waters are different. Even the bedrock below can change. The title is The Emperor's Room, and I forgot the dude's name, but The Emperor's Room. It's a great, great movie. It's not a Christian movie. And Kevin Kline, I think, is the actor, and just does a fantastic job playing a professor at a college. And I don't want to give it away, but he comes back to the place in life where it's this past event, and now moving forward where he is now with new students, and the all the magic that's happened in between, and some of the upsets that he's faced as a teacher, and seeing life through his students and seeing victory at the same time. It's amazing. And so again, that quote was written by Heraclitus, who was a Greek philosopher, who said, you cannot step into the same river twice. That's where it came from. And so I think ministry is that same way. Each week, we cannot step into the same worship service twice. We cannot step into the same song twice. We cannot play the same note twice, because everything is different. Everything changes. How do we adjust with those changes? How do we walk in worship, the same worship that God calls us to? How does that change daily? I know these are concepts probably that you don't think about often, that maybe we take for granted. Maybe you think, oh, Brandon, yeah, but that's like a far-fetched idea. Is it? I'm thinking about it, because I feel like I'm kind of losing time in some sense, and I want to hold on to what God's given me today, but yet I also want to let it go, right? For Philippians Was it 3:12, 3:14? To press forward ahead. Or is it Philippians 4:12, I think. Sorry. Pressing onward, pressing ahead for the upward call in Christ Jesus. I mean, that's what it's about. Every week, each week, make it different. Each week, make it new. Each week, make it fresh. Don't play the same note twice. Wow. Hashtag that. Don't play the same note twice. You can't. Don't sing the same song twice. That's why Scripture says sing a new song. Amen? We're not to be repeating what was in the past. I mean that's the challenge that I have even today is not, I don't want to replicate what I did yesterday. I don't want to replicate what God did a year ago. I want to be in the new. I want to be what He's doing right now. I want to be on the edge ahead of the curve, ready. I want to be ready. Make it real. So that way, look, when the curve comes my way, I'm going to trust God to guide and direct me the way I need to go. Not the way that I went years ago, because that won't work. It didn't work, because if it did work, I probably would still be there, but I'm not. I'm here. Just like you. So let me hear from you. We're like, Sir Ray, what's up, dude? Sir Ray's watching us on Periscope. Let me ask you, we're kind of coming to the close now of this broadcast. What say you in all this? Where does this leave you? Where do you feel like you need to go from here? I mean, we've really unpacked a lot. What's your thought? What's your idea? Question? Hit me. Let's go. And by the way, may the 4th be with you, everybody. And everybody knows that if the 4th is with you today, Cinco de Mayo is with you also tomorrow. Just make sure that Cinco de Mayo is not still with you on Friday. Anyway. So, what's up? Let us know. Type it in. You live in LA. I already know that. Clarence, Sharice, what's up? Saying hello. Love you guys. So, as we wrap up today, how does God find your sincerity of worship? And I don't mean when it comes to worship. Oh, wait, Clarence, you're funny. He says Cinco de Mayo and LA go hand in hand. So true. But hey, we're in Texas, baby. We're a bigger state, so huge. Anyway, how does your sincerity of worship begin? And I don't mean when you enter the sanctuary. I don't mean when you step foot on the church campus. I mean when your feet hit the floor each day when you wake up. Before you lay your head on the pillow at night. I mean, you think back and pray and say, God, the life that I lived today with all the minutes in between, did I live a life that was worth imitating? Please help me in the areas that I've just failed and messed it up. And then we get this awesome passage from Lamentations 3 that says, great is thy faithfulness, his mercies are new every morning. That's our hope. Our hope is in the future. Our hope is in the things to come of what God is doing, because that's what leads us forward when we walk in worship. Love you guys. Thanks so much for being with us today on the broadcast. You guys are gold. I love you, Periscope. Love you, Facebook Live, YouTube, playbacks. Thanks so much for joining us here today. And look, if you didn't check out yesterday, we did a double broadcast. We did worship planning, and we also did a segment video. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Judah Ray. What's up? We did a double broadcast. The second video we did was on Planning Center Online. So if you didn't check it, go to worshipteamtraining.com and find Worship Planning, the article. Worship Planning Made Easy. Just like you can find today's article, if you want to look at all the notes that I covered. I really didn't even read the article that I wrote this morning, not in this broadcast, but there's some other notes and stuff that you can read. So if you want like not really a direct transcript, but it's some notes that I wrote today, go to worshipteamtraining.com, get today's article, Walk in Worship. Get that today. And if you're watching it right now on the Worship Team Training page, thank you so much. Love you guys very much. And may life continue to happen in the way that God designs it, with your sincerity of walk and worship being in His name. So go to our mentoring page if you need this extra help in your life. Where is it? Who is that solid rock person that you can lean on? If it's somebody that's within your family, go get the help. If it's the church down the street, go call and get them help. Take them out for coffee. If there's anything that we can do to help you, now check this out, dudes. We're now breaking it up. We now have a 3-week program, a 5-week program, and a 10-week program. We're going to be putting more up on the site about that, but we have a 3-week, 5-week, and 10-week mentoring program just for you because you guys asked for it. We're going to put more info on the site in a little bit. It's not up there right now, but you can still go to the mentoring page site and see what we have to offer, preview the book, fill out the form, and we'll get in touch with you. worshipteamtraining.com/mentoring. worshipteamtraining.com/mentoring. So love you guys. Thanks so much for coming today. Be sure to check out the upcoming webinars and hangouts, all coming your way at worshipteamtraining.com. You can get all the good stuff there. Love you guys. Jermaine will be in touch. I'll be in touch with you guys soon. Love you guys. Have a fantastic 4th being with you. Love you guys. See you soon.